sky simmered with the bruised colors of twilight, casting long shadows across the deck of the Horizon's Reach. Elara Voss stood at the prow, her gaze fixed on the horizon where the drifting islands loomed like silent sentinels. The air was thick with anticipation and uneasy calm before the storm. Her fingers absently traced the worn leather strap of the satchel that held the cartographer's compass, the legendary instrument that had driven her relentless pursuit across the shifting skies. Captain Cale Merrin's voice cut through the quiet, edged with urgency. Something on the radar. Large vessel approaching fast, coming up from behind that cloud bank near the northern ridge. Elara's sharp green eyes narrowed. Show me. Cale's fingers danced over the controls of the skyship's navigation console, the soft hum of machinery punctuated by the steady beeping of the radar. A silhouette emerged, a sleek, menacing ship bearing the black colors of Mythic Crane's infamous sky pirates. Celine, Elara murmured, recognizing the signature design of the pirate lieutenant's vessel. She's here. The crew stirred, the tension palpable. Professor Lysandra Hale joined Elara at the rail, her silver-streaked hair catching the last rays of sun. They were more persistent than we anticipated, she said, voice steady but concerned. Their intent is clear, this isn't a warning. Elara's mind raced. Every encounter with Mythic and his crew had been a test of wit and will, but Celine's sudden reappearance signaled a new level of threat. Prepare for engagement, she ordered. Cal, ready the defenses and hold steady. Lysandra, gather the crew for a briefing. Below deck, the hum of activity grew. Weapons were checked and ammunition loaded. The crew tightened their ranks, a shared determination binding them. Elara felt the familiar surge of responsibility, her past failures whispering in the back of her mind, but also the unyielding resolve that had brought her this far. The Horizon's Reach shifted course, positioning itself between the pirate ship and the vulnerable compass. Celine's vessel closed the distance with terrifying speed, the sky crackling as the first volley of harpoons and energy blasts streaked toward Elara's ship. Brace for impact, Cal shouted, his hands steady on the helm as the ship rocked violently. The crew responded with practiced precision, returning fire and maneuvering through the treacherous maze of floating islands. Amidst the chaos, Elara's voice rose above the din. Hold the line! We cannot let them take the compass. Celine appeared on the enemy deck, a fierce silhouette against the storm-darkening sky. Her voice echoed across the void, taunting and sharp. Give up the compass, Voss. You cannot win this fight. Elara's eyes met the challenge, a flicker of fire igniting within her. This compass belongs to the skies, not to pirates and tyrants. As the battle intensified, the crew's unity became their greatest strength. Kel's expert piloting wove the Horizon's Reach through narrow gaps and sudden gusts, each maneuver a dance with death. Professor Hale's knowledge of ancient island lore provided crucial insights, predicting the shifting currents and storm fronts that could be used to their advantage. The clash of steel and the crackle of energy blasts filled the air. Celine led a boarding party, descending onto the Horizon's Reach with deadly precision. Elara met them on the upper deck, blade flashing in the fading light. The fight was brutal, a desperate struggle where every strike counted.
For the compass!
Elara called out, rallying her crew. One by one, the pirates were pushed back, their resolve faltering against the combined strength and strategy of Elara's team. Celine's eyes burned with frustration as she retreated to her ship, signaling a tactical withdrawal. The skies fell silent once more, save for the heavy breathing of the victorious crew and the creaking of the battered ship. Elara stood at the rail, the compass safe at her side, but the threat far from over. This was only the beginning, she said quietly, eyes scanning the darkening clouds. Mythic and Celine won't give up. We must be ready for whatever comes next. Cal clapped a reassuring hand on her shoulder. We will face it together. Professor Hale nodded, her gaze resolute. The secrets of the floating islands demanded. As night enveloped the chain of drifting isles, the Horizon's Reach sailed onward, a beacon of hope and defiance against the encroaching shadows. The quest for the cartographer's compass was far from over, and with every challenge, Elara's determination burned brighter, lighting a path through the endless sky. The first rays of dawn crept over the horizon, casting golden light on the wary but unbroken crew. Elara stood once more at the prow, her mind already turning to the next move in this deadly game. The pirate shadows that pursued them were relentless, but so was the spirit that drove her. "Plot a course," she commanded softly. "There are new islands to discover, new secrets to uncover. And the compass will guide us there." The wind caught the sails, filling them with promise. The endless sky stretched before them, a vast canvas waiting for the maps yet to be drawn, and Elara Voss would be the one to chart the unknown. Her journey was only just beginning. The sky churned ominously above the floating archipelago, dark clouds roiling with electric fury as the winds howled like ancient spirits unleashed. At the helm of the skyship, Elara Voss stood resolute, her sharp green eyes scanning the tumultuous horizon. Her short dark hair whipped wildly in the gale, sun-kissed skin glistening with a fine sheen of rain and sweat. Around her, the crew moved with practiced precision, bracing against the ship's violent lurches as thunder cracked overhead.
Steady, everyone!
Elara called out, voice strong despite the storm's roar. "Cal, adjust the port sails now." Cale Merrin, rugged and quick-witted, sprang into action, his leather flight jacket flapping as he secured ropes and directed the deckhands. His tousled brown hair was plastered to his forehead, but his usual smirk was replaced by a rare seriousness. The storm tested more than their skills. It tested their very spirits. Below deck, the hum of the engines was barely audible over the tempest's fury. In the cramped galley, Elara found a rare moment of quiet with Cal. The storm battered the skyship mercilessly, but in this small refuge, the two shared a silent understanding. "You never told me about your last flight," Elara said softly, pouring 2 cups of steaming herbal tea. Cale took a long sip, then sighed. "It ended badly. Lost a friend. Feels like the sky's a reminder of what I couldn't save." Elara's gaze softened. "We all carry ghosts, but it's how we fly with them that defines us." He nodded, a flicker of gratitude in his eyes. "Glad you're here, Elara." Meanwhile, in the ship's small library, Professor Lysandra Hale was immersed in ancient manuscripts. Her silver-streaked dark hair framed a face etched with wisdom, her sharp blue eyes reflecting the flickering candlelight. The storm's rhythm was a distant pulse to her concentration. "These texts," she murmured to Elara as she entered, "tell of the island's delicate balance. We must tread lightly. Our quest is noble, but exploitation could doom what little remains untouched." Elara nodded thoughtfully. "We will protect them, Lysandra, together." Back on deck, young Jorin climbed the rigging with spirited energy, laughter cutting through the storm's rage. Kel watched him closely, pride mingling with concern. "Easy there, Jorin," Kel called, steadying a loose line.
I'm fine.
The deckhand shouted gleefully, eyes bright with exhilaration. Elara observed from the helm, a rare smile touching her lips. The crew's bonds were growing, forged in the crucible of shared adversity. As the storm reached its peak, Elara called the crew to the main deck. Her voice rang clear despite the howling wind. "This storm mirrors the challenges ahead, not just the skies, but our trust in one another. I've been solitary for too long. It's time we sails one." Her words hung in the charged air, met with nods and murmurs. One by one, crew members shared their thoughts, fears, and hopes. Walls of suspicion crumbled, replaced by openness and camaraderie. The skyship responded to their newfound unity. Maneuvers were executed flawlessly, each member anticipating the other's moves. Together, they navigated the storm's wrath, emerging battered but unbroken as sunlight pierced the clouds. That evening, as the skies calmed and stars shimmered against the vast expanse, Elara stood among her crew, feeling the weight and warmth of their trust. The journey ahead promised greater perils, but for the first time, she was not alone. The bonds forged in flight would carry them through the unknown. To the endless sky, Cale toasted, raising a battered mug. To discovery, Elara replied, eyes shining with determined wonder. And as the skyship drifted toward the next horizon, the promise of new adventures shimmered like distant constellations, beckoning them onward. The cartographer's compass pulsed faintly in Elara's palm, its surface warming beneath her fingers as if alive. Around her, the dim glow of the navigation room flickered in rhythm with the compass's heartbeat, casting dancing shadows on the walls lined with ancient charts and worn journals. The air was thick with anticipation. The crew gathered close, their breaths held in unison, waiting for the moment the compass would reveal its deepest secrets. "Steady, everyone," Elara whispered, her voice a tether anchoring them amidst the swirling tides of uncertainty. Cale stood beside her, eyes reflecting the soft light, his rugged features taut with focus. Professor Lysandra Hale hovered near the ancient texts spread across the table, her sharp blue eyes scanning the inscriptions that had long guarded the compass's mysteries. With a gentle rotation, Elara turned the compass's intricate dial, etched with symbols that seemed to shift beneath her gaze. Suddenly, a beam of iridescent light erupted from its center, stretching across the room and coalescing into a translucent map suspended in midair. The map shimmered, revealing a sprawling network of floating islands connected by swirling currents of wind and light ropes that had been invisible until now. Gasps rippled through the crew. The map displayed not only familiar islands, but also hidden realms shrouded in storm and mist, places that had been dismissed as legend or unreachable. The compass's power was undeniable, a revelation that promised to reshape everything they thought they knew about the skies. Cale stepped forward, tracing a delicate finger along a spiraling path that wound through a cluster of islands cloaked in perpetual twilight. These ropes, they were more complex than I ever imagined. Navigating them will require all our skill. Elara nodded, her green eyes alight with a mixture of excitement and solemnity. This changes the game. But with great knowledge comes great responsibility. We must tread carefully. Professor Hale cleared her throat, drawing their attention back to the inscriptions. The compass was crafted not merely as a tool for exploration, but as a safeguard for these islands. The ancient cartographers understood that revealing these paths could bring both discovery and destruction. We must consider the consequences. Her words hung heavy in the air, reminding them that their quest was not without ethical weight. The floating islands were fragile worlds, ecosystems balanced delicately atop the endless sky. Unchecked exploitation could unravel the mysteries forever. Outside, the skyship's sails caught the rising wind, the creak of rigging punctuating the charged silence. Elara stepped onto the deck, the compass held high as twilight deepened into a tapestry of stars. The floating islands stretched out before them, their silhouettes flickering like distant promises against the night. "This is only the beginning," Elara proclaimed, her voice carrying on the breeze. "The compass has unveiled the paths, but it's up to us to choose how we walk them. Our journey is far from over." The crew gathered around her, faces alight with a blend of hope and determination. The weight of the past expeditions, the losses endured, and the betrayals faced had forged them into a resilient family. Together, they stood ready to chart a new era of discovery, one that embraced both wonder and caution. As the compass pulsed softly, its light weaving through the night air, Elara felt a profound connection, not just to the skies or the islands, but to the unyielding human spirit that dared to seek the unknown. The map before them was no longer a mystery to fear, but a beacon guiding their way. Yet, in the shadows beyond, the faint silhouette of a ship appeared, its black sails cutting through the stars. Captain Marik Crane had not relinquished his pursuit. The unveiling of the compass's full power would only intensify the race, and the stakes had never been higher. Elara's grip tightened around the compass. "Let them come," she murmured. "We have the map, we have the path, and we have the courage to see it through." With a final glance to the glowing map, she turned to her crew. "Prepare for what lies ahead. The skies are vast, and the adventure is just beginning." The night embraced them, the promise of new horizons unfolding beneath the endless sky as the cartographer's compass illuminated the way to worlds yet unseen. The skyship, a sleek silhouette against the fading amber hues of the sunset, drifted silently above the scarred landscape below. Elara stood at the bow, her sharp green eyes tracing the contours of what had once been a thriving island, now marred by deep fissures and fallen forests. The wind carried a bitter tang of salt mingled with smoke, a harsh reminder of the storm's fury and the unintended consequences of their passage. Her heart weighed heavy with the knowledge that every step forward in their quest had left ripples unseen, many unseen in the delicate balance of this mysterious world. The cartographer's compass had revealed wonders beyond imagining, but it had also exposed the fragile threads holding these floating islands together. Elara, Kale's voice broke through the quiet, his rugged frame appearing beside her, the leather of his flight jacket creaking softly. We can't ignore what we've done. The storms, the disruption, it's more than just nature's wrath. She nodded, eyes never leaving the damaged land below. I know, the cost is steeper than I imagined. But stopping now means leaving the islands vulnerable to others like Mythic who would exploit them without a second thought. Kale's jaw tightened. So what do we do? Keep pushing forward and hope we can fix what we break. The answer was elusive, but before Elara could speak, Professor Lysandra Hale entered the deck, her silver-streaked hair catching the last light. Her sharp blue eyes reflected the same solemn concern. There's a delicate balance at play, Lysandra said quietly. Our presence has already shifted it. The ancient ecosystems depend on isolation, and our maps, our ships, they bring change. We must tread carefully, or risk losing the very mysteries we seek. Inside the cramped cabin later that evening, the three huddled over scattered maps and notes, tension thick in the air. The conversation was fraught with ethical dilemmas, how to chart new territories without imposing, how to engage with island inhabitants without eroding their cultures. Elara's voice was steady but laced with fatigue. We came seeking knowledge, but now I see that knowledge carries a burden. We must redefine what it means to explore. Not conquer but protect. Kale leaned forward, eyes earnest. We need a code. Something that holds us accountable, that guides every decision. Lysandra nodded in agreement, and we must include the islanders in that code. Their voices are crucial. Later, alone in her quarters, Elara's hands trembled as she traced the lines of her journals and sketches. Each page told a story of discovery and wonder, but also loss and sacrifice. The face of her lost mentor haunted her thoughts, a reminder of the fine line between bravery and recklessness. What have I become? She whispered to the dim room. A seeker of wonders or a harbinger of ruin. The weight of the compass in her pocket felt heavier than ever, a symbol not just of navigation but of responsibility. She vowed silently to honor the legacy of exploration not as a conqueror, but as a guardian. At dawn, the crew gathered on deck, the horizon ablaze with golden light, unveiling the shimmer of new, uncharted islands beyond. Silence enveloped them, a shared moment of reverence and hope. Elara met Cal's gaze, a flicker of resolve igniting in her eyes. This journey is far from over, she said softly, but now we travel with purpose beyond discovery. We protect what we find. The ship surged forward, buoyed by the rising sun and the endless sky ahead, carrying with it the fragile promise of a future where wonder and wisdom walked hand in hand. The endless expanse of sky stretched before the skyship, a canvas of shifting blues and soft, billowing clouds that seemed to pulse with life. As dawn broke, the first golden rays cast a warm glow over the floating islands, scattered like jewels across the horizon. The air was crisp and charged with possibility, each breath a reminder of the vast unknown waiting just beyond reach. Elara Voss stood at the bow, her lean frame steady against the gentle sway of the ship. The wind teased her short dark hair, carrying the salty tang of distant seas and the faint, earthy scent of island flora. Her sharp green eyes, keen and searching, traced patterns in the sky and sea alike. In her hands, a well-worn sketchbook rested, pages fluttering softly as she carefully captured new contours and landmarks revealed by the cartographer's compass. Each line she drew was a thread weaving the tapestry of their journey, a testament to her relentless determination and insatiable curiosity. Around her the crew moved with quiet purpose. Cal Merrin, rugged and steady, adjusted the rigging with a practiced hand, the leather of his flight jacket creaking softly in the morning breeze. He cast a glance toward Elara, his usual wit subdued in the face of the moment's gravity. A rare, genuine smile crossed his face, an unspoken acknowledgement of the shared trials they'd endured and the trust that now bound them like iron. Below deck, the soft rustle of parchment and the faint scratch of quill filled the air. Professor Lysandra Hale, elegant and poised, studied ancient texts by the flickering lantern light. Her silver-streaked dark hair caught the glow, framing sharp blue eyes that held both wisdom and quiet concern. Her fingers traced the fragile maps and scripts, a reminder that their quest carried weight beyond discovery, the balance of preservation and respect for the fragile floating worlds they sought to understand. The skyship's engines hummed steadily, a soothing pulse beneath the symphony of wind and waves. As they sailed into the unknown, the crew's resolve was palpable. They moved as one, each member a vital note in the melody of exploration and hope. Elara's voice broke the reverie, calm but infused with an unyielding spirit. Ahead lie new horizons, uncharted and waiting. Together, we will map the skies and unveil the secrets they hold. Her words stirred something deep within each heart, a mixture of awe, courage, and the bittersweet recognition of what had been sacrificed to reach this point. Memories of storms weathered, battles fought, and losses mourned mingled with the thrill of possibility. The cartographer's compass, now glowing faintly with ancient power, rested securely at her side, a beacon guiding them through both physical and spiritual realms. As the ship soared higher, the floating islands below shifted and shimmered like mirages, their mysteries beckoning with silent songs. Elara felt the weight of her past, the mentor lost, the failures that once threatened to consume her, but also the strength forged from those trials. She was no longer a solitary adventurer, but a leader of kindred spirits bound by trust and shared dreams. The crew gathered on deck, their faces illuminated by the rising sun. Cale's laugh broke the morning stillness, light and infectious, as he recounted a tale from their journey that drew smiles and relieved tension. Professor Hale joined them, sharing insights that deepened their understanding and respect for the worlds they traversed. Together, they embraced the endless sky not as conquerors, but as humble seekers of truth and beauty. With every mile traveled, Elara's map grew richer, her heart fuller. The journey was far from over. It was a beginning, a promise etched in wind and light. And as the horizon beckoned with untold wonders, Elara allowed herself a moment of quiet hope, knowing that whatever lay ahead, they would face it united, guided by the compass and the enduring human spirit that drives all explorers beyond the edge of the known. The endless sky awaited, and so did their destiny. The cabin of the skyship was alive with a quiet hum, a gentle vibration that spoke of rest and renewal after the tempestuous trials that had tested Elara Voss and her crew for so long. Lanterns cast a warm, flickering glow over the worn wooden table where Elara sat, her sharp green eyes fixed intently on the smooth parchment before her. The ink flowed from her pen in deliberate, confident strokes, weaving new lines and contours that traced the outlines of islands only recently revealed by the legendary cartographer's compass. Each curve, each mark told a story of storms weathered, alliances forged, and secrets unveiled in the drifting skies. Outside, the night stretched endlessly, a velvet canopy dotted with countless stars shimmering like scattered diamonds. The faint rumble of distant thunder echoed softly, a reminder of the ever-changing skies that had become both adversary and guide. Elara paused, her breath catching for a moment as she gazed out the small porthole beside her. The vastness of the heavens seemed to pulse with possibility, an open invitation to continue where maps had yet to reach. Cale Merrin, ever the steadfast companion, stood quietly at the open hatch. The cool night breeze tousled his brown hair beneath the leather flight jacket that had become his signature. His eyes scanned the infinite horizon with a calm that had been hard-won through countless trials. A slight smile played at the corners of his mouth, a rare moment of contentment born not from ease, but from the certainty of purpose and the trust that had grown between them. He turned back toward Elara, the soft creak of the ship's timbers accompanying his steps as he approached. "You still going to add another island?" Cal asked, voice low but carrying a teasing warmth. Elara looked up, eyes bright. "There's always another island, Cal. The compass never stops pointing." She gestured toward the parchment, where the new island was taking shape, a place of jagged cliffs and dense forests, hidden until now by veils of storm and shadow. From the shadows emerged Professor Lysandra Hale, her silver-streaked hair catching the lantern light as she carried a stack of ancient texts. Her sharp blue eyes gleamed with intellectual fervor as she settled beside Elara. "These discoveries remind me why our work matters," Lysandra murmured, tracing her finger along the delicate lines of a fragile manuscript. "There are still so many mysteries locked away in the floating isles past. We must be guardians, not conquerors." Elara nodded thoughtfully. "The compass has shown us the way, but it's what we choose to do with the knowledge that defines us." The three shared a quiet moment, united by hope and the weight of responsibility. Outside, the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, painting the sky in soft pinks and golds. The skyship stirred as if sensing the new day's promise, lifting gently from the hidden island that had sheltered them. As the vessel ascended, the vast expanse of the uncharted skies lay before them, an endless canvas waiting to be mapped, understood, and respected. Elara returned to her sketch, the lines flowing freer now, alive with the energy of a journey far from over. Her fingers paused once more, resting on the compass's delicate mechanism nestled beside her. It pulsed faintly, a heartbeat in the palm of her hand, a reminder that discovery was not a destination, but a constant voyage. With a deep breath, Elara whispered, "A new map begins." And with that, the skyship sailed onward into the endless blue, carrying with it the determined wonder of a soul forever chasing the horizon.